We have a new car going into the tank today, a 1968 Ford Mustang GT. Now, I went over this thing a little bit and it looks like some weird stuff's going on. I don't know if it's in as good a shape as it appears. I think there's a lot of Bondo and stuff on it. Let's take a closer look at it. Up front here, the frame's rotted out a little bit and it looks like they packed some Bondo in there or something. Big rust hole there. Everything else up front here doesn't look too bad. The floor is in really solid condition. So it appears anyways. I believe there's a whole bunch of Bondo on these quarters because it's very smooth here, but if you look on the inside here, it's all beat up and dented. And there's a weird patch here. It's hard to see. I should have turned my light on. It's like a galvanized piece of metal and there's a whole bunch of undercoating behind it and a whole bunch of wood screws coming through. I don't think that's factory. It's not on the other side. The other side looks a lot better. I just finished the first pressure washing of the Mustang, and as you can see, a lot of the paint on the door didn't come off, but a lot of the paint did come off. It is gonna need another dip, maybe a third one, but let's go over this thing real quick and see what we're working with. Okay, so up front here, all this paint came off. Got a little bit of rust, and you can see some rust holes and where the frame rust was. There's still some seam sealer here. That'll probably come off in the next dip. All the paint up front here came off. The door didn't really come off that much. Inside here, all the paint came off the floors and a lot of that seam sealer came off too. Now back here, some of the paint is still there. That'll come off in the next dip. There's some Bondo back here and back here. Anywhere where there's Bondo, the paint adheres a little better. There's some fiberglass and resin down here where they had that weird patch, and you can see the screws coming through here, and they ground them down a little bit, but not the whole way. We'll come in here and look at it from the other side. Yep, and it's pretty loose actually. So I'm gonna guess that's gonna come off sometime. Right here, we got this primer underneath here that didn't come off, and some residual paint. This door, sorry, my finger was blocking the camera. This door, the top here came off, but as you can see, the bottom didn't. Should come off in the next dip. But we're gonna take this thing over to the paint removal tank and drop it in for one more dip, and we'll probably pull it out around Wednesday. 1968 Mustang GT is finally finished. This car wasn't too bad to do. The paint didn't give us too much trouble. There were like 3 or 4 different layers of paint, and I think it took about 2 dips in the alkaline bath. It was pretty rusty in the frame area, but that's really about it. There was some rust holes in the floor. The floor is actually pretty solid. I have to say, for a Mustang, all the Mustangs I've dipped, this is probably one of the best ones. Let's go over this real quick and see what we're working with. So up front here, there was some rot through. You could see that. And in the frame, I was pulling a 360 snake through there with a 316 nozzle, and it was just pulling handfuls of rust out. There are some rust holes right there and on the opposing side. But this thing is super clean. The floor is solid. Look at that. It's in great shape. Over there, we rusted through a little bit, but nothing crazy. There were a few holes in the quarter panels. You can see where those awful patches were, where they just pounded them in and then paved over them. Packed Bondo in the holes. I gotta pick that out right there. Come around to the trunk area. Nothing going on in here at all. There was this patch you could see from the other side, but that's about it for there. Another patch on, here it is, right here. That's pretty butchered up. Just come from this side and look, but everything is solid. This is definitely a solid car. This car turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to. I thought it was going to be in pretty rough shape. And I want to address that. I know I shot this video in vertical. The beginning of this video was before I even started YouTube, and I was shooting for the other platforms, but I'm going to start going in landscape mode. I already have a video in the works now. All the videos I've been posting are from my other platforms, and I edited them together for this, but now I'm strictly gonna be doing a lot of videos just for YouTube. So I will try out landscape. It is a little harder on my phone. Like, I'm just not used to it, but I hear you guys.